All right, so here we go. For this inequality, in order to solve it, notice that we have some distribution we have to do in order to get access to these variables. So we have to use the distributive property in the first step. So first thing I'm going to do is distribute this -3, and then I'm also going to distribute the 6 in this problem. So I check for distribution first, and in this case we can. So now when I do that, I'm going to get -6. And now notice here, this is -3 times a negative p, which is positive 3p, greater than or equal to 6p plus 6. So that's step 1. The next thing now, so in the next step, what I'm going to look for is the variables. As you can see here, I have 6p and 3p. So for these two variables, I look at the one that's smaller because they're on different sides. So I got to use 0 pairs with this in this case when they're on different sides. I look at the one that's smaller, and the smaller one you can see here is 3p. So I'm going to cancel this out by making a 0 pair with that one. So opposite of 3 positives is 3 negatives, and I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. Don't forget the variable p. And now we're just going to simplify. So we're going to get -6. This becomes a 0 pair, right? When you combine opposites, they're going to give you 0. Bring down your inequality sign. 6p minus 3p is 3p. And I'll bring down the plus 6. And now you can see that we have the variable p on the right side. And I actually don't like solving it when I have the variable on the right side. I like to put it on the left side. So in this step, what I recommend is to swap both sides in order to, because when you want to graph it, you got to get the variable p on the left side anyways. So I'm going to do 3p plus 6. I'll put the -6 on this side. And then notice that this, if you consider this like an arrow, is pointing towards the 3p plus 6. So I'm going to make sure it's still pointing towards that one. Right? If you look at it like an arrow, it's still pointing towards 3p plus 6. So let me just change the color of that one. So it's going to be going this way now. So pretty much everything switches around. Because again, the goal is to get the variable on the left side when you have to graph it. And now you can see to isolate 3p, I got to get rid of the 6. So to make a 0 pair with that, opposite of 6 positives is 6 negatives. And then I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. And then simplify in the next step. So here on the left side, 6 positives and 6 negatives makes a 0 pair. That's gone. We're left with 3p less than or equal to -6 minus 6, you get -12. And then in the last step, I got to make this 3p into 1p. So I got to divide by 3 because 3 divided by 3 is 1. Do the same thing on the other side. Just like in equations, you always got to balance things out to both sides. So we get 1p is less than or equal to -4. And that's the solution set. So now we just got to graph it to represent that. So we put number line. The -4 goes in the middle. Then I'm going to put a number before and after. So -5, -3. And here we have the inequality sign. Numbers less than or equal to -4. So to show we're including it, right, because it's equals, that means we're going to include that. So I'll put a solid dot on the -4. That shows that I'm including that number in my solution set. And numbers less than that would be in this direction. And that's the solution set for the inequality that we solved up here. So any of these numbers, keep in mind, any numbers less than or equal to this, going that way, any of those numbers, when I substitute in here, will always give me a true statement. And similarly, any numbers from this side, if I were to take any of those numbers and substitute it into that inequality, I'm going to get a false statement.